pelvis. The bony pelvis is made of two halves of the pelvis, two innominate bones coming together at the front to make the symphysis pubis, coming together at the back to make the sacroiliac joints with the sacrum. And then we follow the sacrum down and it makes a joint with the coccyx bone at the very base of the tail. And then above the sacrum is where our lumbar spine, or our very low back, as we would call it, starts. And you have 5 lumbar vertebrae, the 5th one being stacked on the sacrum. So for example, when we're going into back bends, or as we'll see later, as we tilt the pelvis forward, we are creating movement at where the sacrum meets the first lumbar vertebrae. So while we're still in this picture, just to touch on the 3 bones. So while there's 3 bony regions that make up the one half of the pelvis, as I was talking about. These are the tricolored areas. So your pubic bone is the reddish maroon color. That is the pubic bone. Then the purple color is known as your ischium or your ischial bone. And then the bone colored area is known as your ilium. Okay. And I bring this up because oftentimes, and having taught anatomy to countless groups of different people about the pelvis, we typically don't have a very good idea of where's the pelvis start? Where does it end? Where's the top? Where's the bottom? Is there movement in the pelvis? Where does the movement happen? And yet, if we are asked, where's your pubic bone? You have a sort of an idea. If we are asked, where are your sit bones, or feel your sit bones, we kind of have an idea. And if we hear people say, put your hands on your hips, which we're going to do better after this masterclass, because we're going to see that those aren't actually your hips. But if you hear people talk about, our teachers say, put your hands on your hips, which usually they're meaning putting them on the iliac crest of the pelvis. We know where that area is, but how is it all connected in one? So just taking a moment to have a look at this diagram and really see how this is all connected. And then we'll have, this is giving you sort of the brain experience, and then we'll have the physical feeling experience of it in your own body in just a moment. Yeah, but knowing that those 3 bony regions are just bony regions for the sake of naming the regions differently, but really there's no joints between those 3 colored areas. It's all one piece of bone. It's just a vast bone with lots of areas that's been named in different regions. And then the other thing I should really point out on that diagram is where your hip joints actually are. And we'll feel this again in a moment, but just visualize and see where the crest or the top of your pelvis actually is on the iliac crest and how far down that is from where the hip joints actually are. And notice where the thigh bone, the femur, actually makes a joint, an articulation with the pelvis, is at the level of the pubic bone. Okay, and definitely that has implications for when we're moving in asana and we're moving in our physical postures and we're talking about going into a forward fold, and we tell people to put their hands on their hips, and we place hands as demonstration on our iliac crests, and then we ask them to move from their hips. And really, that's a good, depending on the anatomy of the person, sometimes 3+ inches away from where we put their hands. We'll experience this in our bodies in just a moment. Just again to see it on our pelvic model here. So this being those iliac crests, here is 2 halves of the pelvis, all of this, okay, coming together to make a joint at the front, the symphysis pubis at the back, creating the SI joints as the innominate bones come together with the sacrum, and then we have the coccyx creating a joint between the sacrum and the coccyx, the very tip of the tail. And then as we come up here, we have the sacrum making a joint with the first lumbar vertebrae.